Welcome everybody to the Chinchilla Pickin' Podcast. It is October the 13th, 2024 at 3:54 p.m. As always, we hope to be entertaining, educational, and uplifting because we want everyone to make
Oh,
money. My name is David Underwood, and I am joined by the one and only, the incomparable Baron of Bonds himself,
God.
Brandon
Oh
Beaver.
man, just trying to get everything arranged up here. I got 8,000 wires right on my lap. It's
You know,
driving
I
me.
see your screen. Your screen like is shifting constantly, right? You know,
Oh,
like what are you doing?
I just trying to get everything set up for the show here. Couldn't get my monitor to work a minute ago. Finally got that working, and now I got all these wires in my lap. All right,
Man,
I think I'm good.
you sure?
I think I'm set.
As long as you don't need a password, you should be good.
Right? Okay, but here's the thing. I've actually been using the chinchilla picking 77 at gmail.com.
Yes.
Right? Because Miami University has figured out that I haven't been a student there for like 20 years. So they shut down that email. And I wound
Yes.
up remembering my password to the chinchilla picking 77 at gmail.com email. So you guys can email me now.
There you go. Or you can email chinchillapickin at gmail.com.
Either one.
Um, I have that one. So which is funny because this is how all non-tech savvy Brandon and I are. I went and I couldn't remember if I created the chinchilla picking at gmail.com or not. So I went to go see if it was taken. And I was like, oh, it's taken. So I created another one, chinchilla picking one or something at gmail.com. And then I realized I owned the original one.
uh, I've got like 7 Amazon Prime accounts for the
Really? Oh,
same reason.
because of that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an email I don't remember password to from years ago is one of them. Password I forgot, and then I just created a new account because I forgot that I had created the second account.
You know, and so I've had the same personal email for over 20 years. Um, and I ran into this with my eye insurance. I needed to look up something for my daughter, so I went in there to the eye insurance, try to log in, and they said, "Well, that's since you joined so many years ago as part of our eye insurance, and you've been a member for so long, we archived that email." I'm like, "Well, I'm not changing my email. That's my email I've
Right,
used for over 20 years. Like, I'm not changing that. That's my email. You got to figure it out."
right.
And so they had to open an IT ticket to go ahead and get it added back in because I was like, no, I pay you money every month. You're fixing this.
Stupid.
And I don't even need eye insurance. I have it just for my daughter because I got LASIK and I'm good now.
One of my Amazon accounts is an AOL email.
Really, that old man.
Yeah.
Well, in case you didn't tune in to listen to us talk about emails and you wanted to hear about some stocks and investment news, we do have some, and there was some news this week. Finally had the first couple earnings drop in. Not much big news from the Fed, I would say, last week, so nothing Fed related. And plus, you don't want to hear us argue about soft landing and hard landing anymore, since I won. I'm just saying, it's not official yet. Um, but we do have other news. There was some earnings, there was some news, there was some interesting news. Brandon and I did cover one topic the same. So when we told each other what we're going to talk about, it was the same. But luckily, I had for fun and for giggles today, I've been already researching a different company, so I'm ready to go.
Let's just start
Uh,
about the company that we were going to talk about. A company that we've
well,
talked
let me
about.
do the rules. I haven't
Oh,
done the
go
rules
okay,
yet.
go with the
I do
rules.
it every show. Don't ruin my routine. I'm joking. I'm joking. Rules. Brandon and I get together 5 to 10 minutes before the show, and we tell each other what we're going to talk about. If I can even talk now, you hear the live back and forth, the bicker and the banter right here for you. Brandon, take it away.
All right. A company that we've talked about 1,000 times over on this show always seems to be kind of the same thing. Surprise, bad news. Boeing is cutting 10% of its global workforce. That's about 17,000 jobs. And they've got a machinist strike going on right
They
now. And
do, and it's the machinist strike's not helping. It's
not at all.
$1 billion a month. It's costing the company.
Yeah. So they had the 777X launch delay that's further delayed. because of the strikes now. It was already behind schedule. The 767 cargo plane has been discontinued. The financial impact of this is $3 billion in pre-tax charges for the two jet programs and $2 billion in write-offs for troubled defense programs. Their quarterly loss is estimated to come out at about $6 billion.
Yeah, and they have a negative net operating cash flow.
Yeah. So they do have a new CEO, Kelly Ortberg, but this new CEO's got their work cut out ahead of them.
You want to talk about a turnaround opportunity? I mean, this is worse than the Cleveland Browns when they didn't win a game for 3 years. This would be like if the Cleveland Browns didn't win a game for 10 years and you're coming in.
It's tough. This is a tough one. They've been warned by Moody's and others that they're going to be downgrading their bonds possibly to junk status. Talks with the unions have stalled. The strikes being prolonged. Ortberg stresses the tough challenges ahead, the CEO, and the need to focus resources. Furloughs, they say, are going to end, but layoffs are going to happen all across company levels. Go ahead, Dave.
So hold up. What's the interest rate on a junk corporate bond? Because if it's above 10%, I wouldn't mind putting some money in there because I think Boeing will pay it. I think Boeing will pay it.
You know what? This has been a years of decline here, though, and they're just hemorrhaging money. So
Yeah, but I mean, like,
if it's above 10%, yeah, I mean, there's a risk reward there. I don't know what theirs is. Generally, I would say that's about where you would be on a junk bond.
right?
So possibly.
And where else are people going to buy planes from? They can't all buy it just from Airbus only. And there's a few smaller ones out there, but nobody that can build like Boeing. So they're guaranteed contracts. So it's like it's a junk bond with if it has over 10% return and it's going to pay yearly, and then you get your money back at the end. Okay, sign me up. I'll put some money
build on the scale of Boeing. Quality has
Yes.
been a different issue for them. But
Yeah, on the scale, and that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the scale, because Airbus can, but you don't. Even the companies that like Airbus, they understand that they can't give all their money to one supplier because then that supplier is going to eventually just start jacking up the price and charging whatever.
Right.
So Boeing's going to exist in the future.
Crazier things have happened. Crazier things have happened. I'm not going to own the stock, even on a turnaround play, and I love turnaround plays. I'm not going to own it. There's just too many things that come out on a regular basis that surprises you to the negative, and there's always something new to worry about with this company.
I wouldn't touch the stock at all.
But maybe the bonds.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been calling the stock a dog for years now. At one point, the stock actually started to
we
turn
called it
back
a dog
around
with
and was up.
fleas when
I
it was
mean,
over 300 a share.
yeah, where are we at right now on this thing? For the years, down like 40%, I think, again.
Yeah, it was over 300 a year.
I'm looking it up right now because I don't have the numbers right in front of me. You'd think
So,
I would have put that in my notes.
I brought up the only good news we've brought up on the show about Boeing was when they strike that deal with Poland and they sold them all those Apache helicopters.
Yeah.
And that was the last big positive news I believe that Boeing had. And ever since then, even then I said I'm not buying it off this news because I think that there's too many other issues with Boeing. And that was 2 years ago. And I was like, nah.
Year to date, it shed 41.8%.
Man.
I mean, yeah, this thing was, going into COVID, 336, 340. More than half of the market cap has been shaved off this thing. That's crazy.
It's just one thing after another, after another, after another. And you just wonder where's all their money going?
Yeah. I mean, they're blowing through it. The strikes, the problems with the Dreamliner, the problems with the Max, all that stuff is just taking its toll. And there were culture issues that they've cited. This is why they finally changed CEOs. after years of disappointments. And the culture's got to change. It's been a cancerous culture there for a long time, at least on the commercial jet side of things. I've heard different about the defense
No, no,
contractor side, but
they fired their the head of space division. And then they filed a complaint with the National Labor Relations Board over the strike, saying that the machinists were not coming to the table in good faith in order to bargain before they went on strike. And the machinists union actually came out this weekend and said that they are willing to negotiate quickly. And I believe it's because they realize that Boeing has just announced they're laying off 17,000 coworkers, and you don't want to be striking and then lose your job.
wow. Yeah. Wild. Well, other news and the
I mean, is there other
wanna
news on
go?
Boeing?
Yeah. No, 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 no. I was gonna do you want to go into the next subject or do you got more on
Well,
this?
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know anything about Kelly as far as a CEO. Haven't done my homework on this person, so I don't know their history and what they've done. There are other names of CEOs that we've all heard that can turn around companies, and that I believe that Boeing has the structure in place to be able to be turned around. However, it has to start with the quality inspectors and the quality assurance department
Yeah.
has to start there. And then you have to hold everybody to a higher level of expectations and make everybody produce.
Yep.
I mean, that's just what it has to come down to with Boeing. They first of all can't meet production deadlines. Second of all, what they do produce is not up to quality. So those are the two things. Like, being productive and then having that quality.
Yep.
Got to focus on that. It's like Starbucks when we're talking about that turnaround. Their focus was on people were just abandoning orders because they couldn't get them made in time. How do we make coffee faster? Is
Right.
it just more people, or do we automate and machines? What do we do?
Is there a price that you would buy this stock at? I don't think there
You,
is for me.
no,
Yeah.
no. You tell you what. I'll put in an order for 10,000 shares at $1 a share and see if it gives, and just leave it there. See if it gets filled. $1 a share. And I'll just leave it there.
Yeah. That's
Well,
I'm
hold up. People have
both.
said that before, but remember the P&G incident where that stock trader accidentally sold 1 million shares all at once? And
No.
P&G, it was for a period of 5 minutes. P&G stock dropped to $1, and people had automatic buys in for $1 of P&G stock just in their account randomly, just in case. And it was honored, and they were allowed to keep it
Oh wow.
due to the fact it was an actual trade put in by a trader, and it wasn't no faulty system. It was an actual person doing it. So they said you get to keep the money you made off of it.
Wow.
And so they got shares of P&G for $1. This is a true story. You could Google this up, look this up. But the trader, the reason why it was only a couple minutes was he quickly bought back 1 million shares. I'm sure he was fired the next day, but like, there you go.
Oh yeah, for sure. You want to go into the next subject or are you good on both?
Yes, go ahead. I'm done. I'm
Okay.
done. I'm
Okay. So
done.
more information coming about the CrowdStrike antivirus software that caused global flight disruptions back on July 19th. It was the Falcon antivirus software from CrowdStrike. Delta is, of course, blaming CrowdStrike and Microsoft for this. Delta had to cancel 7,000 flights in 5 days, way more than its peers. We've got this ongoing dispute over the accountability of who's responsible for the 7,000 flights canceled between Delta, CrowdStrike, and Microsoft. CrowdStrike is admitting some liability, but not as much as what Delta is wanting to put on them. They're saying that this has damaged their reputation for reliability. This is what Delta said. Their on-time machine was broken. Their strategy of being reliable and a premium airline was undermined. They said their reliance on CrowdStrike and Microsoft is now seen as a disadvantage. Um,
I would agree.
yeah, I would too. However, CrowdStrike is saying, hey, Delta, you're not our largest airline customer. We've got larger airline customers than you, and they didn't have the problems that you had. So, and there's a lot of even pilots and engineers from Delta are coming forward, and union members too, saying, union management, that is, saying that this is just a sign that Delta needs to update their IT infrastructure. I said it's way behind. Delta's use of Windows is similar to other airlines as well, as far as Microsoft goes. So again, Delta having the kind of problems that they're having, Windows and CrowdStrike is saying, hey, you should have been on top of this faster. Other airlines where they didn't have to cancel as much, it didn't cost them as much money. Some of this is your fault too. Delta tried to maintain its schedule instead of canceling flights sooner, which the CEO says that was a mistake now. The outage is being attributed to CrowdStrike completely by Delta. Delta has complained of insufficient help from CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike issued a fix at 2:32 a.m., which was received by Delta. Delta executives acknowledged slow recovery, but didn't seek additional assistance. They said that their critical systems gatekeeper and crew tracker systems were central to the chaos. Significant drop in flight arrivals and departures in the Atlanta hub. So right now, what Delta is saying at this point in time is that they're readying a lawsuit, first of all. So they're getting ready to sue probably both CrowdStrike and Microsoft. And at the same time, I know, Dave, you mentioned the last time we were talking about CrowdStrike earnings that CrowdStrike didn't lose any of their clients. Delta is looking for somebody to replace CrowdStrike right now.
Ooh, that's big news.
Yeah. But both CrowdStrike and Microsoft are blaming Delta's outdated IT infrastructure, as are some employees of Delta. So definitely some updates needed there. Delta blames the pandemic for delays in the modernization plans of their IT infrastructure. But that was 4 years ago, guys. Come on, get it together.
It's Ukraine. It's the supply chain. It's yeah. I remember when everything was Ukraine's fault.
Yeah, that's just you know what? It's not a good excuse. But you know what? I called, and here's where I was right and you were wrong, Dave. I called Delta buy, right? Delta's
Yes.
been up about 18% since I called it a buy. That's been nice. I mean, wow.
Nice. That's a good return.
Yeah, and it's way out of its normal range now. It's about $51 a share. I see more room to run here because their financials have been great.
Well, yeah, I've always said Delta is the best one of the most publicly traded U.S. airlines.
Yes.
U.S. airlines.
And if you're going to pick a U.S. airline that's got a moat, Delta Airlines is it. Nobody else has really got the kind of moat Delta Airlines does. Maybe United, but I think Delta is just the clear leader here. I still see room to run here about another 19-20% to about $60 a share.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I
All
would
right.
give that the next 12 months. That's where my price target would be.
Wow. Price target, timelines,
I'm setting a price target here. Yeah.
Who is this? Am I on the podcast with Brandon?
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to give it a decent, reasonable price to earnings ratio. Right now, it's still below 8.
Wow,
Even
really?
it's had. Yeah.
A PE of 8?
Yeah. So the earnings were kind of a mixed bag at this point in time, but it's just, I still think it's a great discount for what they've had. They did have a financial loss. They recorded $380 million in revenue, 45 cents a share in profit for the quarter ending September 30th. The loss was attributed to the grounded 7,000 flights over 5 days in July, which they are blaming CrowdStrike for. Their expected earnings of $1.60 to $1.85 a share for the current quarter, which is below analyst expectations. They've warned of reduced travel spending ahead of November's presidential election. I don't know why would that cause. I guess everybody's going to go vote in their hometowns, and so there's going to be reduced spending? Is that
Uncertainty about the election. People just want to be home, families. I don't know. I'm just
I
spitballing here.
really don't
But
know. I mean, everybody seems to be doing the whole absentee ballot thing now, so I wouldn't see why the November 11th, is that what it is? That's usually what it is a November 11th. I don't know.
and there's yeah,
Election. I don't know why that would be such a big headwind to them, but
November 6th,
okay, November
I
6th.
believe.
Revenue per available seat mile did decline 3.6% over the year. Adjusted earnings were $1.50 a share, down 26% on sales of 14.6 billion. So that's adjusted earnings. That's, hey, we're going to take out the CrowdStrike thing. To be fair, it was a one-time issue. So if you took that out, they would have made $1.50 a share. But it did have a big impact. I mean, it drove them to a negative quarter. But Delta shares fell 2% initially, but they climbed right back up and ended the day on Friday positive again. CEO Ed Baston said that his outlook is, despite challenges, he's optimistic about finishing the year strong and having a profitable fourth quarter. I am too. City analyst Stephen Trent has rated Delta stock a buy. They have a $65 price target, which is a 27% upside. I'm saying 60% being more, or I'm saying $60 a share being more conservative here. Delta is seen as a bellwether. The peers are United Airlines, American Airlines, and Southwest Airlines. The Paris Olympics and the Hurricane Helene caused disruptions. They said Olympics cost Delta $100 million in revenue. How is that? They didn't explain how the Olympics would cause a negative $100 million in revenue for the quarter.
I have no idea.
Me either. They didn't explain.
Diverting flight deals, like, does the U.S. Olympic team only work with American, and all the other countries only work with their country's airlines? So Delta loses some legs
Yeah.
that it usually would own. I don't know.
They said the hurricane cost about 3 cents a share in profit, so that's negligible. I don't get the Olympics thing. They didn't explain the Olympics. Um, just as far as performance goes, Delta stock is up 27% this year compared to the S&P 500's 21% rise, so it's outperforming. Stocks that are outperforming over the past 6 to 12 months continue to outperform, usually over the period of the next year or two. So
Where do you
that's
get that stat at? That's
uh,
interesting.
what
Where do you
works
get
on
that?
what works on Wall Street, the book.
What works? I'm writing this down.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
I've talked about it on previous shows, maybe a couple of years ago, as one of my book recommendations that I've given.
Well, I just wrote it down because I'm
Okay.
old school and I write things down on my notepad here.
Yeah, me too.
What works on Wall Street? Recommendation by Brandon Beaver.
Absolutely. Good book. But that's all I've got as far as the airlines go. I mean, we learned a lot about the CrowdStrike and Delta thing over the past couple of weeks. Wall Street Journal did some great reporting that I've sourced from. Um, it'll be interesting to see what the outcome of this is, because it does look like we're going to see a lawsuit come up here in the next couple of months.
Right. All right. Well, let's
Yeah.
transition
So
from. Oh,
let me tell you this, right. This is one thing I skipped over, and I shouldn't have skipped over it. Delta is reaching out to CrowdStrike for mediation efforts, trying to get them to reimburse them before a lawsuit comes. Delta is demanding $500 million.
whoa.
CrowdStrike is saying no. Our liability at best is in the single-digit million-dollar range. So they're admitting some liability here, but they're saying like $8-9 million maybe, nowhere near 500 million. So we'll see who wins.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's quite a bit. All right. Hmm. I think CrowdStrike's actually going to win.
We'll see. I think initially Delta was saying it cost them around 700 million.
I think Delta has better attorneys because they're old school and have more um relationships with great attorneys. But I think CrowdStrike has a better case.
I do too. If Microsoft is stepping in and saying no, it's your outdated infrastructure. Yes, we had some problems that caused maybe a couple $1 million in issues, and then you've also got union management, which maybe you take that with a grain of salt, but you've also got pilots stepping up and saying, "Hey, we've had this outdated IT infrastructure for a very long time. If this was updated, the issues would have been mitigated a lot sooner."
Yep. Yep. Right on, man. Any more on Delta?
No, that's all I got.
All right. So we're going to move from flying to driving. You ready? Flying to driving. So the company that Brandon, that I told you this company, but like for our listeners here, the company I've been doing a lot of research on and looking at. I've traded it multiple times before. There was a period back in the day where I would trade this stock every other week, and because it was moving, like it had a channel. I was channeling it
Because I know
for.
what you're talking about. Yes, there was a period in time where I was trading it every other week. Also, unfortunately for me,
Well, I was having good luck. I was doing 10% each time, and
I
I was
got
just racking it in.
I got Tesla right one time. It was the last time I traded it, and it may be the last time ever.
So, all right. So there's been a lot of news on Tesla, and I want to talk about it because, frankly, I just like talking about Tesla and Elon Musk. But I mean, this is all interesting news. So first thing, let's talk about let's get the worst of it out of the way, right? The bad news is I called this bad news, Brandon, way back in the day, but I thought it was going to hit in August. It hit in October, and I'm talking about the robo taxi rollout. I said this was going to drag it down in mid to late August. News didn't come out. News didn't come out September, and it had a run up. I missed the run up because I was expecting a drop. Well, the robotaxi rollout drop news hit last week, and it wasn't good. Here's some of the highlights, the notes, if you will, of the robotaxi rollout. Um, First of all, Texas revealed a robotaxi design of a low-slung two-seater sporty coupe. Right? There's no steering wheel and there's no pedals in this thing. You could buy this. You could buy this for 30,000 a pop if you want to start a robotaxi business. So, say you have $300,000, you're going to buy 10 of them. You run it out into your city, and boom, you have a robotaxi business going. That's the way. That's kind of the way Tesla is pitching this. So people didn't like it. Number one, they didn't like the two-seat look of it. They said no, nobody. If you get in a taxi, nobody wants just two seats. Was the biggest thing, right? Musk, however, did say he showcased a futuristic robo van that could seat up to 20 people, but did not say when that one's going to be available, right? The market for a robo taxi two-seater was saying there's going to be very little. It's very limited, and there's just not a big market there for this, right?
I don't know. I
No, you think
know.
so?
I think it might be a little bit bigger than what people are expected. First of all, two-seater. There's not going to be anybody driving the robo taxi because it's automated driving. That's why it's called a robo taxi. So the question that I have for you is there can you actually get a passenger in the driver's seat? Like, is that something that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
do?
yeah.
Okay. Because
That's
I
just two
know,
seats.
okay, because I know a lot of these robo taxis have the wheels that turn themselves and stuff, and I don't know if they were going to allow that or not.
No, no, there's no steering wheel and there's no pedals.
Think of girls between the ages of 18 and 22. A lot of them use Uber, a lot of them use Lyft, coming home from bars and clubs at night and stuff like that. And if they're by themselves, especially, they really don't want to use an Uber or a Lyft with a stranger driving.
Yeah, it's true.
So using these robo taxis without anybody else in the car is a little bit safer.
Look at Brandon coming out here making the pitch. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like what you're pitching here. Maybe we, you and I might have started a chinchilla picking cybercab.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, right. So I mean, yeah, Musk is they want to make these cheaper, right? That's why it's just two seaters. That's the goal. That's why they're going with this version here. They're predicting the operating cost of just 20 cents a mile over time. Um, did not say how quickly they can mass produce these. However, Waymo right now, that's one of the biggest competitors. They have a fleet of 700 Jaguar Land Rover cars that fit 4 passengers. So Waymo has 700 4 passenger cars, and Amazon Zoox robotaxis also are 4 passenger cars as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
So Waymo's former CEO John Krafcik, I want to pronounce that correctly. I think I am. He was quoted as saying, "This is more playful than serious." It sort of, if you look at the picture of it, I'm going to try to describe it to our listeners here. It's a little bit bigger than a smart car, and it very much it's like a baby Cybertruck from the front
Yeah.
is how I would
I
describe it.
saw it.
So, do you think that's pretty accurate, Brandon?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
What I read, they said that they're going to be pricing it around $30,000, maybe a little less.
Yeah, $30,000.
Who's going
That's
to be
pretty
buying it?
good.
So who's buying it though? Because I thought when initially they were running the robo taxis, you were going to use the Tesla app to order a Tesla robo taxi, and
That
I thought
was
all the
the
money was going
yeah.
to go from Tesla. So who's going to be buying the robo taxis then?
So and see that was the whole software update thing I was against. I said it wouldn't work. That's why I was a dog. That's why I was dogging the stock. And all that stuff just kind of quietly went away and nobody ever said a word about it and the stock went up, right? So the robo taxis are expecting entrepreneurs to buy them
Okay.
and then lease them, rent them out to riders. So say you and I wanted to start a robo taxi cab service here, in Westchester, Ohio. That well, then we'll buy 30 of them and then set them on the roads.
Could I buy one for myself and just use it for my personal use?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And that will save you money, right? Um,
Well, it's less than
basic,
$30,000. That's better than most cars out on the market
yeah,
right now.
and you don't have to drive it, so you could be doing other things as you're driving, which I like. Um, Elon Musk this year scrapped plans to build a smaller, cheaper vehicle amid slowing EV demand and shifted focus to Tesla's autonomy ambitions. So he's saying Tesla, the robotaxi business could catapult Tesla's valuation to 5 trillion. He has said from where it's at right now, which is 700 billion.
Oh
That's
my
from
God.
Musk.
Come
No,
on. These valuations that they're projecting is just ridiculous. Over the course of how many years did he even say that?
no, he did not. He did not come
They
out and
just
say
make
that.
up these numbers off the top of their head sometimes.
But you know what? I bet you there's a venture capital firm out there willing to front the money for that.
Possibly, but I mean, it's probably his venture capital firm. He's probably already fronted the money. Now he's trying to pump the stock.
But you're right. BlackRock has enough money to pay that in cash. 7 trillion.
Oh man, it wouldn't surprise me if you would have said Jim Cramer said that.
Oh.
That's
Wouldn't be a good show if you didn't dog one line about Jim Cramer, Brandon. All right, so here's another this is all from this past week, by the way. All these articles I'm going to be reading all have to do with Elon Musk and his companies and all from the past week. So this one came out on Reuters just today at 2:16 p.m. Eastern Time, just today. The headline reads, Ambani's Reliance lobbies India on satellite spectrum and new face-off with Musk. So who is Ambani and why are we talking about this? So Indian billionaire Mukesh Ambani Reliance has argued that the telecom regulator incorrectly concluded that home satellite broadband spectrum should be allocated and not auctioned. In the United States, this is auctioned off. He's saying this Indian billionaire is saying it should that it shouldn't be allocated. It should be auctioned, right? Here's the reason why. If it's going to be allocated by the government, Elon Musk and Starlink are going to get a bigger share of this. And he wants to prevent that. Now, Elon Musk and Starlink aren't the only ones over here in India trying to get a piece of this here. I'm trying to read on to see where I can see who the other company is besides them. Oh, it doesn't say in this one. Oh, man, too bad. I believe it has to do. Yes, it's Amazon's Project Cooper is also trying to get allocated some of these spectrums over there in India. Now, if it goes to an auction, this billionaire obviously is going to outbid Elon Musk and Amazon. So Starlink and Amazon is not going to get any of this. Well, not going to get as much, at least, right? Currently, the methodology of giving out spectrum for satellite services in India, a market set to grow 36% a year, to reach 1.9 billion by 2030, is a very contentious issue over there. The regulator in India that oversees this, like the SEC here, or the FCC, sorry, FCC here is the TRAI or TRI. That's the entity that will be overseeing this. And TRI is coming out saying that they want to ensure a level playing field and have competition. And that's why they want to stay with the way it is being allocated. Musk is keen to launch Starlink in India, though a final decision on the spectrum allocation remains a sticking point. So they still have not settled this. This is still being argued in court. Who knows who's going to come out the winner? But if Musk could get a foothold in India with Starlink, that's going to go a long way for that company.
Oh, absolutely. Large population, large opportunity there in India.
Rural areas, and that's a typical. They have a lot of that in India, outside the city, so they have a large population that would love to eat up Starlink, but there's competition, right? So what's going to happen? I don't know. All I know is that this is another inroad and growth out for another Elon Musk company. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity. I mean, it's hard to find,
No.
like what's going to happen in the future, but I think
Yeah.
there's good a large market there for sure.
Here's what I would love to have. Number one, before we move into the next Elon Musk company, I would love to have a stock that I could buy that just owns all these Elon Musk companies in one.
That might be coming. He said in the past he's not going to let Starlink go public until it's profitable. So that'll be the first step for Starlink and any of the other companies here. But in particular, Starlink, he said that it might come. It is something that is on his mind, but it's going to be profitable first before it hits the stock market.
There you go. Moving on to the next Elon Musk company. Again, these are all, I preface by saying this, these are all news stories from just this past week. All right. So this past week, this one came out on CNET, and it was written by Joe Hindi. I haven't read any of his articles before, so this is the first. But it talks about SpaceX and their 5 missions they already have planned to Mars. So SpaceX is planning to send 5 uncrewed starships to Mars over the next few years. Basically, there's a window time frame, right? When Mars is lined up perfectly for us to send things from Earth to Mars. The next window is in 2026. The reason why they missed the window this year is because the FAA would not allow Elon Musk to send his uncrewed ships to Mars this year. Elon Musk has been very vocal and outspoken about this. He has called it a government bureaucratic problem and is stopping progress of the human race, which could be true, but
Probably is, and some aspects at least.
right. But let's get back to the point at hand, which is SpaceX. That's what we're talking about, right? So the next window's in 2026. If SpaceX misses that deadline, the next one won't be till 2028. Now, here's the plan. If the uncrewed ships land safely on Mars, Musk is anticipating sending crewed missions during the 2028-2029 launch window. If they do not succeed, then the company will try to send uncrewed missions again in the 2028 launch window and push the crewed missions back to the launch window after that. This is the plan, right? What is the ultimate goal here? This is a quote from Musk. The ultimate goal, according to Musk, is the building of a self-sustaining Martian city in about 20 years. He has a 20-year timeline. So in 20 years, there will be a group of humans living on Mars in a self-sustaining city.
Mark the date. I doubt it. There's too much that you have to get over. It's going to be a very uncomfortable life.
So people now here's the thing. When they first announced that this was a possibility a few years back, we reported on it, and there was over 250,000 qualified people. Now these are people that they deemed to be qualified to complete the mission of going to Mars, who applied for it, and it's a one-way mission. 250,000 humans in this on this planet who were qualified, meaning they had the correct degrees. They knew they would probably needed an engineer, a doctor, whatever. They all said yes, put me on the ship to Mars one way.
I don't know, man. I just think like, did you ever play the Oregon Trail back in
Yes.
the day? And you die of dysentery and all of these diseases that you would survive, these days. I mean, it's
Yes.
going to be that, but like 20 times worse.
Probably. Uh but let me go into this. Here's how they're going to do it is the Starship. The SpaceX Starship. The max payload is 150 metric tons. So it's a huge ship. It's going to be able to bring a lot of stuff to there each time. Now, Musk has been known to move goalposts when it comes to SpaceX timelines on getting
Yeah,
ships to
absolutely.
Mars.
And he did it with Tesla too.
So he's been quoted as saying that 4 years ago, he said SpaceX would be sending ships to Mars in 2024. Well, they didn't do that. And he's blaming the FAA for that. They would have been sending uncrewed ships if it wasn't for the FAA holding them up, is what he's saying. Um, so SpaceX is facing delays in other sectors as well. NASA's Artemis 3 mission, which is using SpaceX Starship, was originally scheduled for 2025 and it's been pushed back to 2026. It would be the first crewed mission to the moon in half a century, but SpaceX is going to be the ship that takes humans back to the moon. They canceled the flight around the moon because the Starship wasn't quite ready, according to this article, right?
Yeah.
So the next article, again, these are all articles from this past week. This came out today at 2:23 p.m. on the Reuters newswire. SpaceX catches giant Starship booster in fifth flight test. So the whole thing they're saying was held up because Starship wasn't passing all of its tests, passed with flying colors. SpaceX in its fifth Starship test flight on Sunday, just today, returned the rocket's tower and first stage booster back to the launch pad for the first time using the giant mechanical arms and achieving another novel feat in the company's push to build a reusable moon and Mars vehicle. So it took off, flew to 40 miles up, and came back down. It has 33 Raptor engines that slowed this descent as it was coming down. It's 233 feet tall, this booster, and it was able to land it safely back down. Now, the second system, the second stage, the stage above that, cruised at 17,000 miles per hour and 89 miles up in space before they did a controlled splashdown in the Indian Ocean as they planned. So far, yes, SpaceX is accomplishing everything that it is capable of doing, and it's getting approval to do. Are they having some failures along the way? Yes, but they are actually doing it. So the article I read first about SpaceX was early in the week, and then this article came out today saying that boom, we are hitting these marks.
Yeah. But Elon's one of the only people in the world that thinks that colonization of Mars is something that's sustainable. Um,
It has an atmosphere and it has water.
yeah, yeah, but I mean the temperature and all, it's just him and Jeff Bezos kind of had the same idea of space exploration as a private company. And years ago, him and Bezos met over dinner, and Musk tried to pitch him the whole Mars thing, and that's where they split. That's why Jeff Bezos has Blue Origin and Musk has SpaceX. They were trying to come together, but they couldn't because Elon's just stuck on the whole Mars idea. And it may work. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but it seems like he might be the only person who's really that excited about colonization of Mars, as at least as far as the billionaires go.
So if you take your helmet off of a spacesuit while you're in space, you're going to be dead within seconds.
Yeah.
If you take your helmet off on Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, wherever, you're going to be dead within seconds. If you take your helmet off on Mars, you have over a minute before you can no longer sustain yourself
Okay,
because it has an atmosphere.
gotcha.
And he's planning on terraforming over time. The first few people will, yes, will live in pods, but his plan is to terraform it over time.
Okay.
So,
I'm trying to get it
anyways,
myself here. You talking about taking off helmets in Uranus. That's how
thank
childish
you.
I am.
Yeah, right on. All right, so yes, these are all articles again that came out this past week, all about Elon Musk companies, and it's amazing what he's accomplishing all at once. Is what I'm saying. And if I could buy stock in him, I would.
Yeah, I would too. He's a genius. He's brilliant. I don't know
Yep.
about the colonization of Mars thing. He is a dreamer, which is why these dates come and go. And, he often gives these dates that are a little bit too good to be true. And I mean, the Cybertruck's a great example of that. I mean, that kept getting pushed.
It's out now though. It's
Yeah.
done.
I mean, and then autonomous driving, same thing, kept getting pushed. It is out. It did get done. But the dreamer in him aims really, really high.
Yeah, but I think what did Vince Lombardi say? You strive for perfection, and when you fall short, you achieve greatness.
Yeah, that's true.
So there you go. All right, let's look at the earnings calendar this week. I do this every week, and I love this. I love this almost as much as I loved our what did we read on Stock Twits this week thing. Um, Tuesday we got Bank of America. That's going to be a big one. Charles Schwab, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, PNC, State Street. A lot of banks on Tuesday. Heavy, heavy, heavy bank day. But you also have Albertsons and Walgreens. We've covered Walgreens this past quarter in a number of shows for all the troubles they're having. So I'm interested to listen to that one. If I was going to pick one to listen to, I would listen to that one. But I would read the earnings reports of Goldman Sachs, Johnson and Johnson, and Citigroup.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just before the bell. After the bell, Interactive Brokers, Pinnacle Financial, Smart Global, United Airlines, JB Hunt is reporting. I love JB Hunt, and here's why. Listen to the earnings because it gives you a key into the transportation industry and how it's holding up
Yeah.
with all the issues they've had. So
Even
JB
the
Hunt's,
West Coast port strikes and all that stuff.
yep.
Yeah.
So moving into Wednesday, you have more banks, man. Morgan Stanley, OFG Bank Corp, First Horizon Bank Corp, Citizens Financial Groups, US Bank. So many more banks this week. It's just a heavy, heavy financial bank week. We'll see what's going on after the bell. You got Discover Financials, Equifax, Home Bank Shares. So many. Just you just call it Financial Week, I guess. Blackstone's
Yeah.
coming out on
Okay.
Thursday.
So let's pay attention to those, especially Discover, and see what people's credit card debt has done now that inflation is starting. Well, at least the growth of inflation is starting to come down.
There you go. See, that's a good takeaway from this week with all these financials reporting is the consumer debt and loans to
Yeah.
personal loans.
And,
Um,
and then Bank of
net
America, we might see why Warren Buffett shed a lot of shares.
right.
Albertsons, we're going to hear from them about the merger with Kroger,
Yep.
hopefully. So,
Netflix coming out on Thursday and Intuitive Surgical, which is one I'll be watching. Um, on Friday, you got more banks, but with Johnson earlier in the week, you have Procter and Gamble in the end of the week. And again, more banks, but Schlumberger, me and my oil firms, Schlumberger on Friday. So that's what we got going on. A lot of earnings. Brandon and I have a lot of information that we can pick and choose from for next week's show. I'm sure we're going to have a couple earnings discussions and some updates on some companies that hopefully will give us a better insight. I know one of us will probably cover JB Hunt, probably going to be me. We'll see what happens. Who knows?
Netflix will have to knock it out of the park. Bar set really high for them. I would sit
The
and wait.
bar is set high, man. They have continually raised that bar, and
They
it
have.
is high.
They have, and I would expect that the stock will continue to grow from here, but wouldn't surprise me to see a small sell off on Netflix after earnings. So if you're thinking about buying that, I would wait.
Brandon Beaver, it is time for final thoughts.
Oh man, I'm always unprepared for the segment, but yet we still do it every week. Um, I have called Delta a buy. I think this still something that you could safely get into. You missed 18% up until this point from the last time I bought it, but I think you got about another 18 to 20% to go. It's not as undervalued as it was. It's not as for sure of a call as I had, just a few weeks ago. But I think if I think that's okay to get into. I think if you're going to get into Netflix, I would wait until after earnings personally. I mean, you're taking a shot. I would say 60% chance we get a little sell off and you get a better price at the end of it. 40% chance it doesn't happen. Oh well. If you miss the train, you miss the train.
I like it. I like your thoughts there. My Google position I recently just bought into, I'm holding that forever. I've made that decision. I have a lot of other cash on hand that I could trade with. So that Google position is now locked and loaded into my long-term investment portfolio.
Right.
Um, so I still am in the market for more trading, and I have not seen it. But with a lot of financial news, I'm going to get a good look, like Brandon said, at the health of the consumer, health of the customer, health of the banks. Are they still making money off these high interest loans, and is that offsetting the other losses they've had? And yes, I'm interested to see why Warren Buffett sold Bank of America. That I didn't think of that, and I'm glad you mentioned that because now that makes me want to listen to that earnings call.
The whipsawing of the interest rates can be a problem for banks. It can be a very tricky situation for them to navigate. And the lowering of the interest rates by the Federal Reserve should be a tailwind for them. But if they're playing, different investments and trades and stuff like that based on interest rates and where they're at right now, and those interest rates change on a dime, then that could be tricky.
It can be very, very, very tricky. I don't currently have any calls, but I am going to be watching Tesla's move on Monday to see what happens with that. I know I've got it wrong this year. This was not my year to get Tesla calls right, but I'm waiting because I do want to invest in that. But I think there's a chance it could go lower. I know I said this before and I was wrong, but I'm still holding to that belief. So I'm waiting for the opportunity to get in a little bit lower before I enter in a position.
Gotcha.
All right. So we hope you enjoyed the show. Please hit subscribe. Please tell your friends and family. We love it and we appreciate every single one of you. As always, we hope we have been entertaining, educational, and uplifting because we want everyone to make money. Have a good night.
Have a good night.